Hello, students. So today we are going to move into talking about the business strategy and specifically how you build a marketing plan. We are going to talk about the strategic planning within organization, resource allocation, and how the marketing process fits in that. So there's also, that's financial strategic planning process with the organization, the operational strategic planning process. But we are going to really specifically talk about how marketer approaches the strategic planning for overall strategic plan and then organization. So there are some cross-functional interface between the financial leaders and marketing leaders and the operational leaders and the R&D leaders of any organization. So there's that type of interaction. So let's talk about bits about the strategic planning process. I asked you to watch the video that Simon Sinek is called Why. This has been a part of the process as I'm going to give you names of people who have been pretty thoughtful or interesting in the field of marketing. So giving you a little bit of content and then maybe hopefully you will go to board and read some of their books, subscribe their blogs, or getting engaged with some of their thought process. Those are that will help you to make a more active business learner. So let's talk about this video about why. If we want to connect with the consumers and if we really want to have a long-term relationship and then provide a sustainable advantage to them, we need to know the why they do and then what they do. So we need to understand that how they measure values and then create what values them, and then oftentimes it is not very clear. So the examples I give you in the chapter 1 video, purchasing perfume, although just people buy the perfume for smells, visual image is very important to their purchase decision. So sometimes it is not very explicit. And also, just recall about the sports car decision as well. Though we think that people buy sports car because of the speed, but the sound was really matter for their purchase decision. So understanding how value is created, and then why do, and then what we do is really important. So if you're creating a product to serve a certain group of users, Snack takes a look at why. And then something that you really should think about deeply about, and as you try to figure out the consumer's motivation, and then why people do, and then what they do, and then how they do what they do. So let's talk about the strategic planning. That's the process that where you can take organization. One of the first things that you want to do is to understand that what are we about and then what are your core competencies and what do we do good or bad, and then how we can be different from the other guys. And you can take a look at the organizations, that's what you're about, and then what's our objectives, what's our goals, how many resources that we can stack up, and then also how we can fit with the evolving market opportunity there. When the market is evolved, then there are some industries totally stopped and then disrupted just kind of entirely. And then you make the change, and then we can think about how we can match what we do and what's happening today with the behaviors of the consumers, and when it comes to the outlet choice or retail, and then when it comes to the product choice, and then how do we work. So let's take a look at what's going on in the market. How do we take advantage and how do we capitalize, and what can we do with those evolving market opportunities? This is what strategic planning is about. And when we look at it in the short term, and then when we look at it in the over the long-term goal, but what we know is that keep in mind the basic structure is that what your organization is do, what do they do well, and then what's going on around us and what's happening in the environment. And how can we line those things up in such a way that, and then what's going on around us and then what's happening in the environment. And how can we line those things up in such a way that we get a larger share of the market that's out there, and also figure out a way to make money with those scenarios. So do we need to go a different part of the market, and is a target markets that we are after right now? We're not exactly correct. So just what might be needed just change. So you have to like scan of environments and the markets. And then also you have to have a constant attention in the environment just to be a good marketer and then to have a good strategy right now. So you really need to understand what's happening in your macro and micro environment and your internal competitive environment in the and also immediately just right and around you. So you need to know that what's going on with your competitors and also what's happening in your company and what's happening with your partners that are important to you. And then also you have to think about the social environment and also consumers' behavior, and then also relate to the technology, and also what's happening in your competitive sets and what's happening with everyone around you as well. So just be aware that you have to know what's happening in your environment, and but then again that you also need to have some creativity and some vision that you need to figure out and what I'm going to do to better and then different than anybody else. So the marketing planning process. So the first thing you have to know is that what your goals are and what your objectives are. And then we say the company or organizations or strategic business unit should identify what's their mission and then what the goals are. So, what's your mission and what's your goal? And then how do you want to impact society? And then why do you matter? And after that, you gotta take a look with what's going on. Just do a good SWOT analysis and a good situation summary. And then the SWOT analysis look inside your organization with your strengths and the weakness, and then also relative to their environment. It's also look at your opportunities and then threat, which is the external environment. So it has to look at the outside as well. So that's the only way you can take an organization and then think in the really impactful way with the environment is to take a look at both and then see where there's opportunity and then see where there may be some challenges. Then also see how you decide and how are you going to address those. So after you do that, then identify the markets. Take a look at the market that you're trying to serve and then what's going on in the market. You segment the market and then say, see where you can do the best. So where can I just have the most success in the company? Right now, after the pandemic, a lot of people looking for pickup and delivery, not spending so much time wandering the aisles. So, just what kind of experience are we looking for the segment that those markets it targeted when you figure out what your positions is going to be. So you go through this process and then figure out what are we with my 4 P's, and it's going to what's my product profit, what is my product positions. So what is my products going to be in your brochure that you don't necessarily have to have the experience that coming up the delivery, and then but you may want to know that what's my product mix going to be. So it is going to be an all private label like Costco, and also we also buy some groceries there. And then also that's kind of whole different experience in the shopping experience on the Costco versus kind of Trader Joe's. And how I'm going to price and what's my price perception going to be and what I'm going to be located. If you're in the grocery store, then what's your distribution strategy? And then I'm going to mix delivery or pickup. And then how do I tell people when you come and then when you implement a marketing mix. So once you have figured out what segments do I find the most attractive for the resource and the benefits that I provide, and then people just that I can really speak about, tell them that why you understand and then why they would want to go something, and then make sure that I'm in the very good shape with those things. Then you go through the 4 P's, and then just you take a look after. And then you executed your plan, evaluate how did it go. So, but the marketing process starts first with our business mission. So this is the kind of diagram that we see in the textbook. And then I just make the kind of more simplified version. So let's talk about the planning stage vision first. And this is the chart that I create to help you have more the kind of visual impact. We will use this chart throughout this course. Let's first talk about the planning stage, vision and mission. So there are four important conditions to set the marketing objectives. First, it should be realistic to achieve. And the second one is the measurable. So with reading this example statement to increase the sales of the product from the 300 million to 345 million, you need some kind of measurable number so you can compare and evaluate your performance. And also it is helpful to your team members in the same page. The third one is the time specific. So you should give a certain time window so that your team members try to achieve the certain goals with the same time window. It helps to your team members in the same page. And the last thing is that compared to the benchmark. So what you see in this example statement, you just compare yourself with the past. So with using the benchmark, you can evaluate yourself whether you're doing a good job or just you need to improve. Combining this kind of four conditions, one simple example goal statement can be, our objective is to achieve 10% market share in the cat food market within 12 months of the product introduction. This kind of setting the marketing objective is basic and is very important. So I just give you the first assignment, which is the goal worksheet assignment. By using these four conditions, please write 4 example goal statements. The first one is the mandatory, write about the goal statement with the scores. And then 3 is can be anything. It can be your personal, and also it can be just kind of hypothetical marketing scenarios like here. So it's up to you, but just make sure that you should include the realistic, measurable, time specific, and compared to a benchmark conditions. Let's talk about more companies' missions. Then I will show some examples. Nike says that they want to bring the inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world, as long as that you have a body or the athlete, which is great. And then you know that Nike is a company. When I ask the student what is their favorite brand, as Nike comes up pretty frequently, and people love Nike. So they have an incredible jobs with the emotional connections with the people, really connecting with the people's hearts and minds. And then they follow through with the great company values and then decent product with the good quality of product that across all different athletic areas. And then the next example is the Amazon. Amazon worked really hard to deliver the convenience value to their shopping process. So with the kind of Amazon Prime or the Amazon Fresh, they just developed the kind of many different online shopping services, and then just to focus on how make the consumers more convenient to their online shopping. So with their missions, with the most consumer-centric company, so under the mission of the most customer-centric company, they try to deliver those values to the consumer. And not only the kind of private companies, as I give you assignment for the work assignments, even like the educational institutions also have those missions. Our school's mission is it is to commit the high quality and rigorous innovative educational program with the delivering the variety instructional modes and a diverse student population through the exceptional teaching service and apply the scholarship. So you know that in our school, we deliver not only the in-person class, online class, and high-flex class, so that some students in the local and also out of state or the different city, they have some of the flexibility to take the courses. And also we have a very diverse dynamics of our student group. This is also implemented under our missions of the school. So now let's move on to the situation analysis. Market consists of 3 important factors. 3C analysis contains customer, company, competitor, and these entities make the market. And particularly, we are going to focus on company and then talking about the situation analysis here. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is 2x2 very simple metrics that you can compare your internal and external environment, and then also some kind of positive side of yourself, and also the negative part of yourself. So in the internal part is related to the strengths and the weakness. So it is related to just your company's resource yourself. For example, your kind of marketing skill, your financial resources, your brand images, and then employee capabilities, and also kind of price structures or technical competencies, and the customer satisfaction and supply chain. All those things can be managed by the company, which is the controllable under your hand. And then the external part outside of circle is that somewhat kind of environment that you cannot control. So it's kind of external factor. For example, the economy, you cannot predict and you cannot change the recession situation. And also you cannot predict well with the technology, kind of new technology introduction. So, and then also kind of changing trends of the consumers' behaviors, something that you cannot control, but impact your just business environment. We consider that as opportunities and then threats. It can be evaluated depending on whether it's the positive or the negative, and then internal and then external. So again, the strength is the kind of internal, which is helpful to you, and the weakness is still internal, but it's kind of harmful to you, so which is that you need to shore up. And then the third one is opportunity, which is the external but helpful, so the factor that definitely you can invest. And then the external and the harmful is kind of threat part, definitely that you should kind of keep watching and then monitor it. So with the strengths, another word about the strengths is the core competencies. Some of the areas that you are doing very well, that you are excel on. And then the weakness part is that the areas you need to improve, and then placing just the company just at a disadvantages. So keep in mind, your weakness can be the core competencies that strengths of the competitors, because that is the part that you're not good at. But if your competitors have the competitive advantages, then that can be the strengths for their company. And the external and the opportunities, kind of favorable factors to improve your current positioning. So it's a factor that have some potentials that hurt your business. Throughout this lecture, as I mentioned before, we will talk about many coffee examples. So this is kind of examples about Starbucks SWOT analysis. Please just read it carefully, and then if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me questions by email or something. And keep in mind, the SWOT analysis is very important tools to understand your situations of company. Today we will stop here, and then for the next lecture, part 2, where we will start from the marketing strategies. Thank you for watching.